I realized all the reasons that I ate, the times that I have stopped myself from eating, especially in the first, probably 3 weeks of this program. Every time I'd be like, I want to eat something, I'd try and examine why. Why do you want to eat right now? And I should have kept a list because it would be like as long as my arm, right? And I don't think anywhere on that list is the answer because I'm hungry.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Shameen Miller here. In today's video, I have something different and I have something special for you. I first want to introduce you to Mary Wolf that you saw at the start of this video. She is one of my rollers in the Rolling 48's Facebook group that I have put together for the last 2 months to bring together people, new and longtime fasting advocates, to bring together to do fasting together. In this group, we support each other, we share stories, we motivate each other, and share information of what's actually happening in our lives so we can just get it from different points of view and have a support system in place. I'm bringing to you Mary today. She was one of our first time members in this group, and I was just blown away with her results, with her attitude, and just seeing how she was so active in the group, and I was really excited to be able to have this interview with her today. Her Rolling 48's journey all started one night on New Year's Eve while having a cigarette. I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story and just discover where she had come from and how fasting has truly changed her life. So before we get into the video, this is a new type of series that I'm putting together. I'm trying it out to see how it works. Normally, you would only really get your point of view of fasting from me, and my goal with this series is to share other people's points of view, share other people's experiences that are not my own. Not only will it help you greatly, it helps me tremendously because then I get to actually know each one of you as well, and I'm super, super grateful for Mary and being my first interviewee on this series. And without further ado, let's get into this interview, and I would like to introduce you to Mary Wolf.
I guess maybe we'll just kind of start, and maybe you can tell me, like, if you can give me like an update of your accountability of like from where you started to like where you currently are right now in your journey.
Okay. So I started with your January group. I started on January 1st. At the time, I happened on the like blurb for it on Facebook, like a promotion for it on Facebook. And I thought, this is perfect timing. I've got to do this. I knew about fasting already. I knew about you. I followed you on Facebook and Instagram. I had for a while because I found Cole's videos, when he started a couple years ago. And then when you started working with Cole, I saw your stuff and then started following you. And I tried fasting before, but we can get into that. It didn't really work. And so when I saw the posting for the January group, I was like, this is what I need right now. And jumped in completely after New Year's Eve. I started at 167 pounds, which was the highest I have been, I think, since I was pregnant with my son 10 years ago. And I am so glad that I did it. I took your words to heart. What I liked a lot about the program at the beginning is that there wasn't a whole lot of instruction. Maybe that was good for me because I already knew some about fasting. But you said that the one rule was don't screw up your fast. And so I took that to heart as like, that is the one rule, right? And the other thing is that the description of the program said the Rolling 48s by Shameen Miller, whatever, it didn't say lose all the weight you've ever wanted to lose, or a program to get skinny really fast, or anything else like that. It said a program to build discipline, and that was what it was about. So I took that part to heart too, and I was like, I'm going to have discipline about the one thing that she put out there as the rule, which is don't screw up your fasts. So I use the Life Tracker app, and I haven't screwed up a fast yet. I'm still doing it. I have done 40 hours or above for every single cycle, and then just like let things, the rest of it fall where it fell, which is pretty cool. So that's done a huge number of things for me. Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight really fast at first, and now more slowly. I'm still losing. I set a goal for myself of 142, just because it was an even 25 pounds from where I started, not because 142 is a magic number. But I knew I had about at least that much fat to lose. I'm not at my goal yet. I weighed in this morning at 148. So I've lost 19 pounds, which is pretty
Amazing.
cool. I think I've also gained some muscle. So I think I told you this in a note on Facebook at one point. I know that there's going to be like a trade-off between fat pounds and muscle pounds. So as I get closer to my goal, I'm less concerned about the number on the scale and getting closer to that goal, although I think I'll hit it later this month. And more concerned with my body composition. But the accountability for me, I guess to answer your question, the accountability for me has been the biggest thing. Promising myself at the beginning of January, that I would not screw up my fasts, and dedicating myself to that promise and that goal, and then keeping that promise to myself is huge. It's like keeping a promise to myself, it makes it all worth it. And the weight loss and everything else has fallen out of that. And I won't say it doesn't matter. It matters a lot, but it is not the biggest thing for me. So I found that probably because I have kept the promise to myself, I am more accountable to myself in all sorts of other areas of my life. And I feel better about who I am as a person, and I'm less depressed, less anxious, less defensive. So that all translates into like my relationships are better with everybody else, including as well as myself. And I feel like I'm a better mom and a better wife, and I have so much more self-confidence because I know I can do something and follow through. So thank you. That's the greatest thing that's happened.
I'm really, really proud of you because, a lot of us, and including myself, like for the longest time in my life too, is, it's so easy to break promises to ourselves because it's ourself. And I think it's one of the hardest things that we almost can do, for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just knowing that I had success at something that I didn't really think I'd have success at. Because like I said, I tried fasting before. I think the longest fast I'd ever done was like 68 hours. So I hadn't just done it like, short one-day fasts, like in a day, 16-8 or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but I thought I'd tried, right? I thought I'd given it like the good try.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my Life app this morning, and I downloaded that app 642 days ago or something like that. I mean, imagine if I'd gotten my shit together 642 days ago. But what happened for me is I'd try it, and then I'd like screw up my refeed, or I wouldn't do it for any block of time. Like I did a 68-hour fast and maybe lost a pound, and then I ate a bunch of food and gained a pound, and then I was like, well, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? I must be the only person on the planet fasting doesn't work for,
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of self-sabotaging about it. So this program gave me, Rolling 48s gave me a structure and a support group that I really, really needed, especially in the beginning. I needed that external accountability, and it wasn't just but support and accountability, that combination, right? So that first couple of weeks when I was having a harder time getting through 40 to 48 hours of fasting, just being able to go on to the Facebook group and like read other people's posts, even if I read them like 6 times, and try and set myself a goal of like answering everybody's posts or whatever, just got my mind in the right place for doing this.
So when you started out with this Rolling 48s as well, like what had changed for you, do you think, like from that time, like at New Year's when you had seen this and you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this now? Like, was there like this moment for you where you're like, okay, fine, fuck it, I'm going to get my shit together? Or
yeah, it was New Year's Eve night, actually. I think it was that late that I really decided this is what I was going to do. I may have already signed up for it, but we went to an early New Year's party. Like, we weren't out late. It was still very much a grown-up party, drank too much champagne, you know, and I'm not a smoker, but like I would smoke when I had a few glasses of wine. And so I was outside having a cigarette, and I was just like really it was supposed to be New Year's. It's supposed to be like a happy thing. I'd just been with friends, which was fun. I was at a great friend's house, a beautiful party. It was an early party because we're all parents. So we got home by like, I don't know, 9 or 10. And I was outside, and I was just feeling really gross about myself, and about to go into like 2020, this new decade, and thinking a lot about my son and about how I'm an older mom. I'm 52. And like I said, I have a 10-year-old son, and he's my only child. And I want to be there for him, like when he's my age, you know? And I'm not going to do that unless I get my shit together. It's just what I was thinking. It's like, I have to do something and stick to it. Everything else I've tried hasn't worked. Waking up every morning for the last few years, hoping that today's somehow going to be magically different without my intervening is not happening. So yeah, I think that was the moment for me where I was just like, I'm deeply uncomfortable in my body. I don't feel like me. I realized the anxiety that I'd had about going to that party earlier in the day, because finding something to wear was hard. Like I got to the point where I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. I didn't like other people seeing me. I was very depressed, and the depression led to more eating, and the more eating led to more depression. It's just such a vicious cycle, you know? And I wanted to do something big and bold, and something that I thought maybe I couldn't do, instead of just thinking, that's something I could do. I'll do it tomorrow, you know? But then there was also a lot of fear, because I think I talked about this on Facebook at one point. I had held fasting out in my head as this thing that I could always fall back on if nothing else worked, right? That surely it had to work, because I'd seen all this great progress other people had made with it. And so therefore it was this like unattainable golden thing. And as long as I had fasting in my back pocket as kind of like my secret backup plan that I never tested, it could work. But what was going to happen if I tried it and it didn't work? Then I wasn't going to have a backup plan anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was scary to be like, oh, I'm bringing out the big guns now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the thing that like is the backup plan. You know? Not that I tried any other plans, mind you. except just like, wishful avoidance. But yeah, so that was a little scary. It was a big jump, but you guys made it easy. I mean, the group made it easy. You made it easy. It's really not that hard once you get going, right? I mean, it's not. It's a mental game. It's all mental. It's not terribly taxing physically.
Exactly.
Right.
It's great because you get to eat every couple of days. So it's just one day on, one day off.
Exactly. Yeah. And I didn't start out by counting calories or anything like that. I did decide to go on a very low carb, high protein diet. And I haven't had any alcohol since New Year's Eve. So I haven't had a cigarette since New Year's Eve. And I haven't had, I got rid of sugar and gluten and all that kind of stuff, which made the weight loss easier, I think. But also made the fasting easier, I think. I think when I tried it in the past, the sporadic fasting that I'd done in the past, it was always really hard to eat like a bunch of carbs after fasting, because not only did the weight seem to come right back, but the blood sugar like roller coaster that I put myself on meant that I was always like craving those carbs again when I'd start fasting again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it made the fasting piece harder than going back into fasting when you haven't had a bunch of sugar and carbs, at least for me, for my body.
Do you ever feel that now you've been doing Rolling 48 now for almost 7 weeks. So do you ever feel that like you miss that, or is that now just an afterthought for you?
That I miss what?
Like, do you miss carbs, or like the carbs or the alcohol, or having a random cigarette here and there?
No, not really. I've had carbs like twice in the last 7 weeks, I guess. Just a little bit. I made lemon bars for my husband and son day before yesterday, and I had a taste of the lemon bar. And on Super Bowl Sunday, I had part of a baked potato. But they don't seem attractive to me anymore. I mean, it's not like I crave them anymore. As soon as that went away pretty fast. After the first like 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say, I didn't really think about them at all. And I'm not really a sweet-aholic. I'm not a sugar-aholic. Mm-hmm. I am much more drawn to like breads and pasta and chips and crap. So that's saying something, that they don't really seem interesting anymore. Like I can cook dinner for my husband and my son, and even on a fasting day, and it doesn't seem attractive to me, the food or the pasta or whatever.
Did you have to make any changes in your house for yourself within the first few weeks, or or was your willpower or in your resolve strong enough that you didn't have to worry about removing those stuff from your kitchen?
Yeah, I didn't remove stuff from the kitchen. Living with 2 other people, 2 boys, hungry boys. I didn't remove anything from the kitchen. I think I lectured them a little bit the first couple weeks. The superiority of the newly converted, like, you guys are eating too much junk food. Yeah. But I mean, our diets were fairly clean to begin with. We eat a good diet for the most part. I mean, yeah, we have tortilla chips and stuff like that in the house, but we're not a junk food family, so there wasn't like a lot of stuff to get rid of, and I wasn't really a junk foodaholic. I just used sheer force of will, and my husband cooks a lot. My husband's very supportive, and he does a lot of the cooking, even before this started. But I found that for me, it was almost an exercise a couple of times to be like, I'm going to make dinner on my fasting days. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to cook the whole thing. I'm going to prepare it and serve it. And then I'm going to go read a book. You know what I mean? Just to exercise that discipline and will.
Do you ever sit with them when you're having dinner, or when they're having dinner on your fast?
Yeah, I do sometimes. It depends. Sometimes they want to like veg out and watch a action hero movie or something, and don't need to.
Yeah.
But if they're just sitting having dinner, then yeah, I'll sit and talk to them and hang out with them and have tea, or something like that while they eat.
And then what's their response with you? Like, why, as you're sitting there having your tea, like, have they become, like, what has it been like from the very beginning until now? Was it just very easygoing, or they were like, "Hey, Mom, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?"
No, I explained, well, my son's seen me fast before, like in the past, but really sporadically. But when I told him I was doing it on a schedule, he's just very supportive. He doesn't think it's weird at all. He'll ask me sometimes, he'll be like, "Hey, Mom, is today a fasting day, or are you eating tonight?" Or something like that. But he doesn't give me a hard time about it or try and tease me. And my husband's super supportive, very interested in it. I think if he wasn't working full time and like in really stressful situation right now, he'll probably try it too soon. So luckily I live in a super supportive household. With friends and stuff, I kind of kept it on the DL for a while, because I didn't want to open myself up to having to explain myself. So I bagged out on a bunch of like girls' night out and stuff like that. And then a friend of mine came back from a trip she'd been on for a while, and there was a girls' night out, and I really wanted to see her, and I just missed everybody. And so I decided I'd go out, and I went out and I just had soda water, and they all had food and drinks and everything. And it was funny. I didn't know what I was going to say, but it's unlike me. And so someone finally turned to me and was like, "Mary, what's going on?" or whatever. And I told them about your group and what I've been doing. And it was so funny how many of the girls there were like, "Oh, I fast," or "I've thought about doing that." Like they were all really either curious about it, or, none of them were like, "Oh my God, you're going to die." Some of them were like, "Oh yeah, I do 16/8, or I don't eat any Sunday," or whatever their system is. So it was cool. It worked out well. And then I was proud of myself. I got home and I was like, "I went to girls' night out." I will tell you, it's after about 3 hours, it's a lot less fun if all you're having is soda water with lime.
So wait,
watching a bunch of other people get drunk.
Were you at least refeeding that day, or you actually went out on a fasting day?
I went on a fasting day.
You did? Wow, good for you. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'm very impressed.
And then they all rolled out of one bar, and they were like, it was a nice lounge thing and beautiful hotel. And then they were like, "Let's go out to another place. I'm not ready to go home." And I was like, "I'm going home."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm very impressed. That's the one thing that I won't do, is I will not make plans on my fasting days, because it's, for me, which I've sat there having like just water before, and it's
right.
Yeah, it's not so
yeah,
fun.
I won't do it regularly. That was the one time that I've gone out like during this. I think I won't do that probably again.
So tell me, so you talked about that you don't really like count your calories or anything. You just kind of been keeping it low carb. Is that something that you're continuously still doing at this moment as well?
Yeah, so I have kind of plateaued a little bit in the weight loss. So at first, I wasn't counting any carbs. I was having a refeed meal, 1 or 2. I think the most I ever had in a day was 2 meals, like 3 or 4 hours apart. But for most of it, it's been 1 refeed meal. And I would just eat and eat. And I realized a few times that I ate more than I needed to on my refeed meals, but I was still just doing, just making sure that I was just having protein and vegetables and just letting it go. And I wasn't trying to apply the discipline to that part, right? Again, just only rule, don't screw up the fast. So now I need to fine tune it a little bit, because as I do get closer to my goal, and as I'm adding exercise now, which I wasn't doing for the first month, I found that the exercise is making me hungrier during my refeeds, and therefore I'm eating even more during my refeeds. I really need to like dial in my refeeds a little better than I have. Because I went from losing like a pound a day at the beginning of the program, right? I think I lost my first 10 pounds in the first like 8 days or something crazy. And now I'm losing about a pound and a half a week.
Okay.
So, which is great, right? I mean, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But just from like a healthiness perspective and still feeling good and not like getting on the scale and seeing it go down and then getting on the scale after a refeed day and seeing it go back up, 2 steps forward, whatever. 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah, so I'm going to start watching my portions a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to get into, I watched your video about what you eat during a refeed day. And I was like, I've been guesstimating that my calories were like 1,800 to 2,000 on a refeed day. And then I saw what you ate and I was like, girl, if that's 3,000 calories, maybe I've been eating more closer to 3,000 calories. I don't know. Maybe I should count. Yeah.
It's always a good thing to see. Like I actually, counting calories is not my favorite thing to do, but it's a tool and it's a good thing to have so you know actually what you are eating. So because we normally when we say, no, we're actually eating a lot less, but really it is true that we do eat a lot more. We always need to like under.
Right. So I think I'm going to start, if not counting calories to me sounds like you just obsess over every little one. I think what I need to do is educate myself a little bit more by watching it for a while and tracking what I eat so that I have a better idea of how many calories I'm eating on my refeed meal and how I could better dial that. So yeah, maybe counting calories, if that's what we want to call it, for a few weeks,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A few refeeds and just getting kind of into a better rhythm and applying that discipline that I feel like I've really built now with the fasting to the discipline of refeeding, right?
Yeah.
And applying that discipline on that side.
Yeah, because over time, what happens, I've even seen this for myself and my body, is that I feel like my body's like starting to actually, like it's adjusting now to this lifestyle. So it's becoming comfortable in a certain weight of where I'm sitting right now. So it's like, okay, I see what you're doing to me. And so it could be that your body's also like, it's almost like readjusting itself at like a new homeostatic state from where it was before. Because, you're almost 25 pounds higher and you're up there and that was your normal. Right. But now you're bringing it down and your body's, it seems like it's trying to just readjust and trying to find its groove again.
Yeah. Yeah. It wants to settle where it's at and I don't want it to get too comfortable.
Yeah. No, I got you. No,
So I might also try experimenting with just like doing, shaking up my refeeds a little bit, like maybe trying a really small refeed meal once a week, you know what I mean? And a large refeed meal, just to try and do that, like you say, like shake it out of thinking it knows what's going on. Right?
Yeah,
adding
exactly.
some uncertainty to my body, revving up my metabolism, and then dialing it down instead of having the same meal like every time I refeed. And then shaking up my exercise. So like I said, I just started adding exercise. Not nearly as much as you do, not nearly to that point. But I am starting to get some cardio and weight training. So we'll see how that.
It's good. It's now that you're going to be adopting these new things, it's going to, like you said, it's going to push your body outside of its comfort zone and it's going to start to move a little bit more. So it's always nice to change things up, but it's great that you've been doing this now for 6 weeks and seeing the changes progressively,
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible.
Do you feel that now like your relationship with food has changed as well? Ever since adopting this?
Yeah, I know it has. It has to change more, right? But yes, definitely. I realize all the reasons that I ate. Like the the times that I have stopped myself from eating, especially in the first, like, I don't know, probably 3 weeks of this program, every time I'd be like, I want to eat something, I'd try and examine why. Why do you want to eat right now? And I should have kept a list, because it would be like as long as my arm, right? And I don't think anywhere on that list is the answer because I'm hungry. I think it was all because, like, well, because it's time to eat. My family is eating. I'm lonely. I'm bored. I'm avoiding doing something else. Food smells good. Food is comforting. Do you know what I mean? Like, just all of these different reasons. And so that's changed for me. I think that I still really enjoy eating a lot. And so I have, like, overindulged. The piece that I need to look at right now is when I'm refeeding, is the kind of, like, I don't know if I was like starved in a former lifetime, but that kind of like, God, if I don't eat this now, I'm not going to get to eat again for 2 more days. Yeah. And change that. And that doesn't happen to me every time, but it's happened to me a couple times with refeeds, where I need to be more like, it's cool. I get to eat again in 2 days. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to eat everything that isn't nailed down right now on this refeed. You know, I can stop when I'm pleasantly full instead of more than that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's changed a lot, but I think it's going to take more than 6 or 7 weeks to really dial it home, which is why I'm fully committed to sticking with this plan for a while.
Okay, I was going to ask you, how long do you see yourself doing this for as well?
I haven't really been, I mean, I'm committed to it. That's how I feel about it. I'm committed to it. I haven't thought about the end game because I don't want to play mental tricks with myself. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be hurtling towards some end goal where I get to stop or something, because I don't see stopping doing this as some kind of reward or release from something unpleasant. I actually like the way that I feel when I'm in a fasted state a lot more than I like the way that I feel in a fed state in a lot of ways. So I don't know. How long are you going to keep doing it, Shameen?
It's a very good question, because I was having a conversation with a friend earlier today, and I talked about how, so Peter has 2 children, and they're men, though they're in their early 20s, and they're going to come visit us in June. I've got 2 best friends that live in Canada. I know we're going to do a trip as well. And you think about, like, how to adjust this lifestyle so that it fits in with the things that you want to do when you have, like, vacations. Like, when you're at home, it's easy when you're at home with, like, the people that you're with all the time, but it's trying to figure that part out. And I don't have an answer for that yet. So
I've been thinking about that some too, because I'm taking my son for his spring break, which is in a little over a month from now, the middle of March. And we're going on a canoe trip in Utah on a river with a bunch of people for like 5 or 6 days. I'm not going to have any control. I mean, I can bring food with me and I can choose not to eat. You can always do that, right? Whatever situation you're in, you can always choose not to. No one's forcing you to put food in your mouth. But I'm going to be getting a lot of exercise every day. I'm going to be outside all day, camping on the side of the river. You know what I mean? Will I hold myself to doing this that whole 5 days? Will I want to be like canoeing for 6 hours a day in a fasted state? Probably not. But I'm also not having any anxiety about it, because I feel like this is a muscle that I've built up, and it'll actually be like awesome to come home to and get back to doing it, and that it's okay. Well, maybe I need you to tell me.
Yeah, no, I think, no,
It's okay to mess up your fast if you make, like you made that video about it, which everyone should watch, about your excuses, right? If I plan to go on this trip for a week and plan to just not do the rolling 48s while I'm there, because I will be canoeing, 8 hours a day and camping inside the river with a bunch of kids, then that's okay. Then I can give myself permission to do that. And that's not about backsliding or giving myself an excuse to sit down to eat an entire box of cookies, or, it's different.
Exactly. It's with fasting, I think it's the best thing about it is that you can use like fasting as a tool to fit into your life. Like fasting is not the diet, the diet is actually the foods that you eat. So you have now fasting in your tool belt, your toolkit that you can use. And knowing that, when, in situations like these, when you know that your new normal now is rolling 48s right now, and you love doing it, but that there's going to be times when we can't impress upon everybody else to say, I'm going to be doing this and you need to do this too, so there needs to be ways that you can also find the balance, right, between the two.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. So I'm going to ask you probably just one final question here, because what message would you want to share for people that are probably like hesitant to start doing something like this?
Ignore your hesitancy. Concentrate on why you want to do it, and forget about all the other stuff. Just stick to what you want. I think in life, no matter what we're doing, whether it's fasting or anything else, we can talk ourselves out or into anything if we concentrate on the negative, if we concentrate on all of the reasons we can't do something, then we can't. So if you really want to try this, do it. It's not hard. It's not painful. It's not going to kill you. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. Don't make it complicated. Just do it and concentrate on your, like they say, find your why. Find your compelling reason why you want to do this. And make a promise to yourself, and then don't break your promises to yourself. Don't make excuses.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Mary. It was really, really amazing to have this conversation with you, and and sharing this with everyone as well. The messages that you have shared and your experiences they're amazing. So I'm hoping that, whoever watches this, they can, they get the strength and the courage, and they can see from what you've done to know that it is possible, and like just getting those excuses out of the way and keeping promises to themselves to do this.
Well, thank you. Thank you for creating the space for all of us to do this. You are so inspiring, girl. You're like, yeah.
Thank you.
The reason we're all here, and you've changed so many lives. It's really incredible. So.
Thank you.